Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Mark from Solo Games, and today we're going to talk about a topic that's not related to Magic or trading card games and stuff like that. It's actually about my experience buying a Tesla. So, why am I doing this on this channel? Because I don't have a second channel, I think mostly, and also I think right now EV is a pretty hot topic. I figured just want to share, like in a short video, my experience with the whole purchase of Tesla, and ideally some tips for other new buyers who may be kind of thinking about purchasing Tesla or are in the process of doing that and are running into issues. So first of all, I just want to be clear, like this video is really meant to kind of give you some like enlighten you, transparency around some of the issues I had. It is not, and by no means, a video to say do not buy a Tesla or they're crappy or whatever. Like, I think there are many things that are great about Tesla, but there are a lot of things about the whole purchase process that could be vastly improved. I think it's there's some issues, so there's that. Might get hate. I know there's a lot of like fanboys of Tesla out there. I honestly don't care, so come at me. I mean, it is what it is, right? It's a true experience. It is what it is. Take it for what you will, and then let's get started. So, purchase process. In general, Tesla purchase process is super easy. The website kind of guides you through everything. You don't have too many options. You pick exactly what you want, color, you want the larger wheels, induction wheels or not, you want the charger or not, you want like enhanced auto drive, full self-driving features, etc. Very simple things, super easy. Nothing much to say there, and it's kind of nice and clean. So I make the purchase, I think it's like basically around the beginning of June, let's say like the 7th of June, I kind of forgot now. But around 18th of June, my VIN number was assigned, right? And that's around the time when I bought insurance. Now, I kind of had this feeling like my Tesla was not going to be delivered on time. So on the 18th of June, they assigned me the VIN number, but they kind of said, oh, we're going to probably deliver your car sometime between the 19th and let's say like 30th of June. Large window, right? But before they're ready, they wouldn't let you schedule anything, but it's kind of like an estimate. So I kind of started my insurance on the 24th or whatever, something like that. So there's that. First signs of trouble. So around like about 3 weeks after, 3 weeks before delivery and about a week after ordering, I get an email about like, hey, by the way, you have to sign this like waiver form to acknowledge that you understand that there are going to be missing features. Now, I was very surprised. So the reason why they're missing features is that Tesla was selling a enhanced auto driving feature, and I did purchase this. It was like $6,000, and it gave you a couple options here, or a couple features here. So auto lane change, auto highway on ramp, off ramp driving, navigation, self park, summon, among other things, right? And so the email basically stated, hey, we are getting rid of USS, ultrasonic sensors, and we're moving into like Tesla True Vision, which is basically using the camera fully to do all the auto driving stuff. So in the interim of like switching between one set of sensors to another, we don't have the features and capabilities of like, I think self-park, summon, these kind of features. Some of the features that you paid for in that $6,000 were just not available. Now, at first, I was thinking maybe I just got really unlucky. Like they're stopping the support for USS, I don't know, in June or something, in this batch of Tesla that they're building. So maybe I got really unlucky. Kind of sucks, but hey, it is what it is. But after doing a little research, I realized actually this has been kind of part of the decommission process for USS for about 2 years now. Since 2021, they've announced it, and they've basically been doing this for a while, right? It's not this first batch. So it was a surprise to me that at the purchase time, they didn't mention anything about like, hey, if you purchase enhanced self-driving, you won't have these features out of the box. That would have been probably better because they already knew ahead of time that they weren't going to be able to deliver these features without the sensors. So why did you wait after somebody purchased the car, right, or order it, pay the ordering fee, to tell them, hey, by the way, these features aren't going to be available? It feels a little bit like bait and switch, right? So I didn't really like that. Though I did look at the features and said, you know what, I really bought the enhanced self-driving just simply for the lane change and mostly the like from on-ramp to off-ramp navigation that allows me to basically drive from on-ramp to off-ramp without much like, I guess I can like have the car kind of do that itself, right? So it's kind of nice. So it wasn't a huge deal, but I think more importantly, it was a sign of like, hey, Tesla has a tendency to overpromise and underdeliver, and this was one of those. Like, just it didn't feel right with me, right? But really, the true problem started around delivery. So, super excited, right? Like, on basically, I think it was the 25th. I was told, hey, I got a text message from Tesla saying, hey, your car's being built, should be ready in a day or two. And basically it says, hey, since we're building your car right now, go ahead and schedule your delivery. So I scheduled it for the 29th at 8 a.m. 8 to 12 is my window, 8 to noon. Remember, I bought my insurance, I think it was slated to start on the 24th. So I'm already like kind of delayed, or I've already paid for extra days of insurance. Not a huge deal, but it was a little bit annoying, especially since buying insurance on a Tesla is actually quite expensive compared to my Subaru, which is, much older. So the day before delivery, on the 28th of June, I'm told that like at 6 p.m. that the Tesla is going to be delayed and that they have to reschedule delivery for the 30th, same time, 8 to 12. Not a big deal. I figured, maybe there's some sort of delay. Delaying by a day is fine. But it does kind of suck because that's pushing it to the, basically at the end of the estimation of delivery. I think they originally, for whatever reason, estimated that my Tesla would be delivered between the 14th of June to the 30th. It's a pretty big window, so it's kind of stupid. But whatever. You're still within window. It's fine. On the 29th, they reconfirmed with me the date at 6 p.m. But then at 10 p.m., they sent me another email or whatever, text saying like, hey, we're going to basically more delays at the factory. We're going to reschedule your delivery to 10 p.m. on the 30th of June. So it's kind of weird. I actually didn't even see this text. I totally missed it. So I'm sitting at home on the 30th, which is a Friday, waiting for the car, so at 8 a.m. But around 10, I realized, hey, something's wrong. I looked at the text and I realized they actually switched it from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m., so noon, to 8 p.m. to 12 a.m., so like 8 to 12 midnight. Those two numbers look really similar on the app, so I honestly just missed it, right? But of course, I'm like, well, it's fine. I'll wait until the end of the day. But at that point, I was like, are they really going to deliver a car at 8 p.m.? Maybe they work super hard and it's like after hours you're doing delivery or something, right? So anyways, there's that. But around like 9:40 p.m. on the 30th, on that Friday, I get another text from Tesla that says, hey, we need to reschedule your delivery to July 4th of July. And then basically they're still waiting for the vehicle to arrive to the delivery location, right? And so at this point, I'm a little bit mad. Like, I'm like, this is pretty crazy. Like, you've already delayed. Like, I've scheduled the delivery, but you've delayed that like 3 times now. And now you're pushing it back to 4th of July, which is a holiday, which I don't think you work on that day. So, it would have made more sense had they said, we're going to deliver your vehicle on the 3rd of July. But I figured it's kind of rough because like, I'm not really sure if people are going to be working on 3rd of July either. So it's a little bit weird. So I start like having a little bit back and forth with them. And just kind of figure out like, hey, what's going on with my car? And I already had previous plans to use the car on the 4th of July. And now I pretty much can't for this holiday weekend. It kind of sucks, right? Anyways, I get some responses back, a lot of like pretty useless information, things like, hey, we don't have a lot of data, we don't know what's going on, but we're going to do everything we can to help you here, whatever. I think the one line that really made me kind of angry was something about like, hey, your custom order vehicle is still in production. I'm like, what? You said on the 25th the car is going to be built and it takes 2 days. So worst case scenario, by this 27th, it should be done. Why are you telling me on the 30th, or I think this was actually the 1st of July when we had this exchange, that the custom vehicle is still being built? So something didn't make sense to me. But they reply back and says, hey, we can find you an equivalent vehicle. So we're going to go look around and find something that's equal. And then almost immediately, without like confirming with me, they assigned me a new VIN number. So at this point, that car that was originally being built for me is no longer the car I'm going to get. So I have a new VIN number, which it kind of sucks a little bit, especially because I already bought insurance on the other VIN number car. Even if it's the same trim and everything, color, it's still not the same car. So I have to go swap it with the insurance company. Now, this is where like I have to step in and say, Geico is amazing. Not sponsored of this channel, but Geico's, I called them, I think like on a Saturday or something, and they solved this problem. They basically just canceled the policy. I told them like, I'm not really sure if I'm going to get this car, so let's just cancel the policy. I don't even want to swap the VIN number. They were totally cool with it. They refunded me for whatever the prorated, like 7-10 days or so I paid for the insurance, and then just canceled my policy. It was super simple. Yeah, there's that. But anyway, so I'm thinking like, okay, I'm gonna get the car on the 4th of July, maybe. Seems weird, but maybe, because Americans work really hard, right? Especially blue collar, so maybe they are gonna actually deliver. But of course, on the 3rd of July, I get the faded text like, hey, delayed once again, you have to reschedule, whatever. Except this time, rather than scheduling automatically for me and saying, hey, it's gonna be like, let's say the 5th of July, they said, hey, you have to go online and schedule manually. Okay, so this 3rd of July on Monday. Now I go to the website, I go to the links that they gave me, and it says there are no appointments available at all. And I'm just thinking, sitting there like, hey, what's going on? Because I'm supposed to schedule this thing and I can't actually schedule if there's no appointments, right? So the other frustrating point at this point is like, I can't call anybody either. There's no phone number. I mean, all I have is this text message, and hopefully it's somebody who's, real on the other side answering. Now, I was able to kind of like use different tactics and did find a phone number, but that wasn't super helpful either, because as soon as I got to the delivery team section or whatever of the call tree, it just sent me to voicemail. So I did leave a voicemail, but I never actually even got a call back on that voicemail. So a little bit disappointing there too. Anyways, it was not easy to go find a phone number, by the way. I kind of forgot how I got one. Maybe I looked on internet or asked ChatGPT or something. Of course, at this point, I'm thinking like, why do we switch the VIN number in the first place if the vehicle is still in production and it won't be available? So you swap the vehicle, but now it's still not available. So what is going on, right? I thought the whole point of swapping a vehicle is because there's a vehicle on the lot that's ready to go and not gonna have to delay again. So it's kind of weird. And after some back and forth with the Tesla delivery team, it seems like they finally figured something out, and they said, hey, we're going to deliver your car on the 5th of July, Wednesday, right? So now I'm like, look, at this point, it seems like they have their act together. I go and purchase insurance, kind of a mistake here. Anyways, around 10:46, about an hour before the delivery, I get this like new text that says, hey, a new VIN number has been assigned. And I'm like, what? So at this point, I'm on my 3rd Tesla, right? So the 3rd VIN number is what I actually got. So I'm like really scared now. I'm like, wait, I just purchased insurance again, and it seems like maybe I won't even get this car, because whatever happened to the last 2 cars could be happening to the 3rd car as well, right? It's a little bit disappointing. Luckily for me, the delivery was completed at 1 p.m. on the Wednesday, and the car arrived, and it's the same VIN. Like the other problem too, right? With 3 VIN numbers, I was like, which car am I gonna get? Are they gonna potentially make a mistake and deliver a different car to me than the VIN number that they assigned? It was just really confusing. So it was fine. It was the 3rd VIN number, and I just had to go call Geico again to really do a quick VIN number swap on my insurance policy. It's not a big deal. And I got that done fairly quickly. So there's that. Look, overall, the delivery process was easy. The actual delivery was fine, right? It was easy. The guy dropped it off, left some stuff in the car for me to go sign, whatever, and just kind of went home. Fairly professional, no issues there. I think overall, this whole delivery process of rescheduling, having people kind of wait for the car and then for it to not show up, and then sending people texts like 1 hour before delivery to say it's delayed, but then not pushing that window back enough to give you time to actually go find the car, but just pushing it back like a little bit and then rescheduling over and over again. It's really confusing, really annoying. And then, compounded on top of that, not having a phone number that people can call and say, hey, look, something is not right? I talked to like one of my friends who also recently purchased a Tesla, and I asked him like, is this the experience that you also had with your Tesla? And while he didn't take an at-home delivery, what he did is he went to the location to pick up his Tesla at one of the delivery locations. And when he arrived, the guy who's working there didn't even know he was going to show up, and was like, oh, you're like, didn't have a car for him, didn't have everything. Remember, he's scheduled to show up. He's not just randomly showing up. He says, here, your car's ready to pick up. He goes to do pickup, and there's no car. So they scrambled that same day and got him a car. So that's where I started thinking, like, what happened? Maybe what happened was my car was actually built, but somebody walked in and they had to scramble and they gave my car to somebody else. And then that happened again to the second car. And finally, on the Wednesday, I finally got a Tesla. And I think part of this is just a lot of like confusion, and I don't know what's happening in the system, but definitely like one side, the production side, the factory side isn't talking to the delivery side because their data is all mixed up, right? You have people who are like promising things that they just can't do. Like there's no car at the delivery sites. How can you schedule an appointment to delivery? It doesn't make any sense. So at this point, I do want to kind of insert and just provide a little feedback about like the rest of the things, right? How is Tesla as a car? My opinion, Tesla actually is a pretty great car. For the price, I do prefer over pretty much all the other comparables around the same price point. Obviously, there are better ones at a higher price point. And yeah, I won't compare the cheaper ones because obviously it's cheaper, it's different. You know, maybe you get more bang for your buck, but at the price range I paid for a Tesla, I purchased, by the way, just for everyone who wants to know, a Model Y long range. I plan to kind of take it on longer trips, and just that's why I bought it that way. The car is pretty smooth. It's also pretty big. It's actually bigger than my Subaru Forester, which was a little bit surprising to me. I guess I didn't really expect that. Which also is really interesting. The turning radius on the car is actually poorer than my Subaru, which I guess I did expect because for SUVs, usually you don't want crazy turning radius to prevent like rollovers, which kind of makes sense, right? It's a safety precaution. On the enhanced autopilot, I'm not sure if buying that was a good option, simply because I found out later on that enhanced autopilot is something that's kind of like an in-app purchase. It's an add-on that you can purchase later. So honestly, you could have just bought the car, figured out like the whole autopilot part of it, and realize if you really want enhanced autopilot or not, and then purchase that at a later point. You can even do a monthly, or they have like kind of like a subscription plan for the enhanced autopilot, which you can just pay for that, and then you could try it, and if you like it, then you can of course pay the $2,000 or $6,000 to go actually buy it. So it was a little bit disappointing to find out that I did not have to make that decision at order time. I could have made that decision later in experiencing the car. So some feedback for Tesla, right? I would say get your system ready, get your system together in sync. The entire process of letting customers know, like, hey, you're going to get delivery, here's when to expect it, here's all the scheduling, and maybe making sure you can do that in the app is great. But it's terrible if you force the customers to do all these things and don't deliver. So don't make people schedule delivery and then like don't actually deliver and then reschedule delivery like 30 minutes or an hour before. It's really hectic and it's really chaotic, and it just shows it's like poor customer service, right? Under promise, over deliver. I would have been fine if Tesla said, hey, your car's going to be delivered on the 15th of July, and rather than saying something like, hey, it's going to be delivered like yesterday. It's stupid, right? So don't do that. And then keep pushing it back. 3 VIN numbers, reassignments, it's pretty ridiculous. I would say, guys, like figure that out too. If you sell a car to somebody, please just sell it to that person. Don't swap the cars. Don't like screw somebody over. In fact, the whole time I was thinking as I'm kind of driving my Tesla, I'm like, did I screw somebody else over? Like maybe somebody else ordered that car and I actually took the VIN number because I started complaining too much about it. And so they had to like help me out and basically screw somebody else behind me, and maybe that's what happened, right? And of course, like you had to pay money up front for the Tesla. I purchased the entire thing, so I had to like go ACH the whole funds to Tesla, which is a little bit annoying, especially because I paid for the car, but the car wasn't here. So there's that. So at the last point of the video, I do want to give some tips to new potential buyers and just kind of help you smooth out the process for yourself. First of all, like I really like the car. I like how it drives too. And I learned a lot about like using the hold mode and all that stuff. And don't take this video as a do not buy Tesla. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying like, hey, there's a lot of things you should think about, especially with the delivery process and those kind of things that are kind of like a warning for you. Some pro tips for new buyers, right? Don't feel pressure to pay ahead of time. So my recommendation to you is you pay for the car when they deliver it. In the app, they'll say things like, hey, this could delay your delivery if you don't do this step, whatever, for like payments and insurance, all that stuff. Don't do insurance, don't do payments, do the registration, the basic stuff, but just hold off on all that stuff until you see the car. If the car arrives in your parking lot, right, and you see it, you take delivery, that's when you can initiate payment. I do not think, and I can't confirm this, I do not think they require you to pay before the car arrives. So they'll still schedule delivery for the car even if you don't pay for it. Same thing for insurance. Don't buy the insurance until you have the car, simply because if they switch VIN number on you like they did for me, that just incurs more time that you have to spend, waste of time, waste of money, waste of stuff. So just kind of, it's all BS. It's all BS to scare you. So just don't worry about it too much. Get the car first. When everything's good, then you can go ahead and pay for the car and all that stuff, right? Obviously, this doesn't apply to you if you're doing financing, because I think the whole process is a little bit different. But if you're paying for the car, that's what I would do. I would say don't buy enhanced self-driving or full self-driving. That's my recommendation. The reason is because it's just in-app purchase, right? You can add it on later. There's no pressure to do it ahead of time, especially when right now just they're not being very transparent with the fact that you don't have like 3 out of the 5 features of enhanced self-driving. Now, albeit those are minor features versus like I think the on-ramp, off-ramp self-driving is really nice actually. So there's that. And don't worry too much about your delivery time. If they promise you a delivery time, just don't expect it to be actually delivered at that time. That's actually pretty key because, we were sitting at home waiting for the thing and planning our life around delivery. But it was just kind of stupid now in retrospect thinking about it and kind of doing too much of that and wasting our time, right? If you need to reach Tesla, call this number, 925-361-1173. And then there should be an option for purchase or delivery. That will give you someone, hopefully, to talk to. Now, they do work like normal California business hours, so just be aware of that. You can also text the number that they send you texts on. I found this out like a little bit later, so it looked like all this like automated message say, hey, your VIN number is ready, blah, blah, you schedule delivery. That number is actually like, behind it is probably some system, but it's actually real people answering. So it's kind of nice. You can text back that number and somebody will respond. So there's that. I think overall that's it. Self-driving, a little bit also maybe a little feedback or something for buyers on self-driving. Especially today, as I was playing with it more, I noticed like self-driving handles certain situations very weird. For example, if it's like near a local road, but you're still on the highway, sometimes it will think you're in like a off-ramp situation and basically cut the max speed down to 25 and then starts braking, but you're like still on the highway. So just be aware of that. Also, when it's like stop and go traffic, and I mean really stop and go traffic, Tesla tend to also be a little bit like bumpy and jerky because it tries to just brake instead of like roll forward slowly. And I've noticed that this morning while I was driving, I was like really awkward, right? It's like basically doing this the whole time. And so I stopped it. I took it out of auto drive and just drove myself. It's a little bit annoying for that. But that's about it. Like, I mean, otherwise self-driving is really nice. It really makes it easier to drive and not have to like really worry about people like doing stupid things in front of you. And overall, honestly, Tesla, for whatever reason, has made me a less aggressive driver. Maybe I'm just babying the car a lot, so I don't really want to get into situations. So if people want to pass me all that shit, like, hey, go for it, There's that. Anyways, that's going to do it for me for today. We will be returning to all the, cards, trading cards, Magic Gathering shit, like, later. But take a little detour in this video. Hope you enjoy it. It's kind of interesting and different, right? So there's that. Mark Solo Games, stay classy.